Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Listen, today we got some new heat. Got my boy Nick in here. He don't even know. I'm about to get at him about his damn Dolphins. He don't know. We're about to get him. We're about to talk that shit. You know what I'm saying? Uh, okay. 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 There it is. Nick, can you hear me?
Reek, how you doing, brother?
Heck, yo, where you been, cuz? We've been waiting for you, yo.
Happy to be back, bro.
You know,
Happy
you know,
birthday,
you know,
brother.
you're always one of the fan favorites, okay?
All right. Happy birthday, man.
Yo, man, I appreciate you. I didn't even say that. Yeah, this is a birthday edition of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Yo, I appreciate you, cuz. So what's telling me, man? I heard you've been losing all your money in hockey bets, you know?
Oh no, I won all my money in hockey bets. I'm losing all my money in baseball bets.
Oh,
Summertime's no good for betting.
there's always a reason. There's always a reason. So, so today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about what did I say. Okay, we're going to talk about the NFC South and the AFC West breakdown, and then we're going to get into bus candidates and the way too early playoff predictions. I hope you're ready for this because I'm holding you to this. Like the world is about to know. Yeah, I mean, what you know. You know, I believe in you, but they said some different stuff. I just want you to know. So boom. So let's start with where you want to start. You want to start in the AFC West or the NFC South?
Don't matter to me.
Ooh.
You take it where you want to go, brother.
All right. So tell me. All right. Let's start in the worst ones. Let's go to NFC South. So let's
Mm,
start off with they were in last place last year. Let's start off with the Carolina Panthers. Tell me about what do you
Carolina.
think of the Panthers?
Where do I see the Panthers this year? Slightly better than last year. I still think they'll be a dumpster fire. I think Bryce Young will improve in his second year. Uh, but again, maybe the third. I don't know. They still could end up being in last place this season and within their division.
Yeah, and that sucks for them. But I don't know. I just don't see them being in a fourth place in the NFC South again. Um,
Well, who you see them being better than?
well, I had faith in the Saints last year, and they just I don't know what the fuck that was. So the Saints could be finishing last in this division. I mean, if you unless you think Derek Carr is a guy that can do something with it, we'll get into them in a minute. But I definitely feel as though they could be it. But they did lose Brian Burns this offseason to the Giants. That definitely hurts that defense. But I thought that defense was pretty good, but they're not ready to hold on to a player like that yet. So I'm cool with them leaving him. But yeah, no, you're right. They're going to be in fourth place in this division. You're right.
Yeah, but yeah, and then who's behind Carr? You got Stidham, isn't that his name? Stidham.
Yeah, and apparently they like him, right?
Yeah, and Carr's a little banged up from last season, coming in a little injured, I believe. So yeah, I mean, maybe they have a chance of
Well,
being.
let's just stay there then. Let's just stay right there. Let's just stay right on the Saints. So, so the Saints. So Derek Carr. Keep what you were saying about Derek Carr and what you thought. It was Spencer Rattler. That's who it was.
Spencer Rattler. Oh yeah. Him and Jake Heener, Jake Heener. I think are
Yeah,
battling
yeah.
for
That's
the
good. That's
second.
close enough for me.
Who cares? They're both fucking trash.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess you might be right then. Maybe the Panthers do end up finishing better off than the Saints. Um, quarterback play is pretty brutal within this division. We'll talk about the Falcons soon, who seem to be the heavy favorite now that Kirk Cousins is there, and
Mm-hmm.
he's basically running the same offense that he's ran in the past. So, I guess we'll see. To be completely honest with you, I haven't done much research in any of these teams because I'm not that interested.
Right, because it's the NFC South and it's bad
Exactly.
and it's bad. So So the one thing that I don't like about the Saints, and this is really why I'm like they could finish last. I don't know why, but Dennis Allen, like he's having problems. Like they just seem not to like him. Like the players seem to not really like him, and I'm not exactly sure why. But usually that's something that doesn't get fixed right away. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I mean, their roster isn't bad. I mean, the backcourt. They still got Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams in their backfield. Chris Olave, you know what I mean? Not much more coming out of there. Their offensive lines, I believe it was like top 15. You know what I mean? In the NFL. Cameron Jordan is still there. They still got Marshawn Lattimore. You know what I mean? They
Yeah,
still
I
got
mean,
some players there, but yeah, like I mean, I'm looking at Bryce from the Panthers. I'm looking at my man Bryce, and I'm saying I expect him to get better. You know what I mean? He had literally nothing last year, so you can't really look at. I think that's very unfair to look at him and say that is like what you can expect from him when he had literally nothing. You know what I mean? So him coming the second year, I just kind of think he might be a little bit better than what you expect. So
agreed. And I think you bring up some really good points there as far as the Saints go.
I know.
They still got they still got a solid defense, right? Um, that defense can carry them. They still got some older players who are looking to prove themselves in Alvin Kamara. Chris Olave is still a young wide receiver, but they do have talent there. I guess it's just going to depend on their quarterback play and where that takes them.
Right. Okay. Well, let's get on over. Let's go on to AFC. Pick the team in AFC you want to talk about. I mean NFC. Excuse me.
NFC South still. All right. Well, then you got
I mean, sorry, the AFC. The AFC. So we got the AFC West, right?
okay. Yeah. So I guess we'll just skip over the Bucks then.
No, we're gonna go. We're gonna jump back. We're gonna jump back.
Oh, we're gonna
We're gonna
jump
jump
back
back.
and forth. All right.
So I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to get the bad teams out of there so we can have more compelling stuff leading to the end. You see, this is a movie. You see what I'm
I
saying?
see.
I'm directing over here.
I see how
I'm
you. I
directing,
see how
baby.
yeah, quarterback in this. Yeah.
Calling the audible. I'm calling audible.
All right, we'll stick with trash teams then. Let's go move on to the Broncos. You got Bo Nix starting quarterback, and a defense who's you know, well, not much going on with the Broncos, right?
I mean, they do. I mean, their defense actually isn't that bad. Their defense actually isn't. It's not. It's like upper middle of the pack. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So like
Yeah.
whatchamacallit, their corner, Pat Surtain, he's like one of the top three corners in football. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean they got a little bit going on there. But like, so here's my thing and really my hang up with him, because I think Cortland Sutton is a good wide receiver. Um, they let go of whatchamacallit, can't even think of his name, to the
Very
Browns.
Judy.
Jerry Judy, but they're like the guy, Josh Reynolds, they were comfortable with letting him go because of what they got there. So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, all right, they're not going to be great. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or anything like that, but they could be pretty good. My thing about Bo Nix, because they're like this Bo Nix. Now, this is something I could talk to you about. And tell me if I'm lying. When we were growing up, the best quarterbacks did not go to the best programs in college. Like the ones that came to the NFL and were like really good, they didn't go to the best programs. They went to like those like second tier programs and they like overachieved with them. So like for instance, Ben Roethlisberger going to Miami, Ohio, they overachieved. Eli Manning going to Ole Miss and them overachieving. You know what I mean? Things like that. That was kind of where it was. I'm adjusting, but like I just didn't see Bo Nix being a guy that made his team overachieve. And I kind of just look at him and I'm like, meh, but I don't know what to really think about him. But I look at it, I don't see what they're talking about coming out of camp and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how he adjusts to the NFL game, right? You had the same take last year on our boy from Houston,
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud. Yeah,
Now, hold on,
same.
hold on. Now, because y'all not going to keep holding me to that, because I did a public apology to CJ Stroud and told him I was wrong. So you're not going to keep, you're like the third person to bring that back up that I said that. Yes, I did say that. And
Same
I
exact take.
apologize and I admitted
Same
my
exact take.
incorrectness. That has more to do with what I'm saying right now than anything. Okay, so
Uh,
keep going.
okay, yeah. So same exact take you took on him is the one you're giving me with Bo Nick. So again, I guess we just see how he adjusts. I'm not as high as you are on Cortland Sutton. Um, you know, he might he'll catch some balls here and there, but he's not somebody who's gonna get a lot of separation. Um, so I think it's gonna be tough sledding for the Broncos and Buck and Bo Nix.
Got you. Okay. Well, let's stay in the AFC West and let's go with those Raiders.
The Raiders.
Tell me about them. What you sipping on too, yeah? Let me get some.
Just beer, just some summertime beer. You know how it is.
Valid.
Yeah, I'm not as fancy as you. That's what are you sipping on? Grey Goose over there. So,
Brother, brother, this is water. Is that high quality H2O? Okay,
sparkling water.
that's a fact.
Yeah. Raiders. All right. Talking smack to the Chiefs preseason. Not a good look.
Didn't they say that Kermit thing? What was the Kermit thing? I kept hearing. What was the Kermit like thing that they said about him? That he looks like him or he sounds like him?
Yeah, they had like I think they had like a Kermit doll, and they put a Mahomes jersey on him, or something along those lines. So,
That's so stupid.
yeah. So trolling Mahomes early in the season.
Okay.
See how it goes. You got Gardner Minshew. You know,
Gardner Mitchell or Aiden O'Connell. Which one of them
or
two?
Aiden O'Connell. Yeah, I mean, you still got Devontae Adams for now. So it's the Raiders. I think they'll probably be around the same as they were last year. Nothing special.
But their defense did get better because they got Christian Wilkinson from you guys.
Mm.
So the defense, but Max Crosby was in. See, that's the one thing I hate about those lists that they come out the top 100 players because they put Mahomes 4 and it kind of like discredits the whole list. And I'm like, all right, cool, but Max Crosby was like in the top 10. You know what I mean? He was like, that's what the players voted on or something like that.
Okay. Oh, well, he's a problem, right? He's always touching the quarterback, giving him a little shot.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess Christian Wilkins clogging up the middle now. Max Crosby coming off the end could be beneficial for the Raiders, but if they're on the field all the time, it doesn't do them any good anyway. So
that's valid.
I mean, Max Crosby can play a whole goddamn game. That dude just a monster, but for some of these other guys, if you're playing a lot of snaps, a lot of time on the field, eventually you're going to wear down, especially later in the season.
That's valid. That's valid. Okay. Well, let's jump back to the NFC South and let's talk about them Bucks that you said that I jumped over. That was very unfair. I was going to talk about them.
Yeah, well, they made a playoff.
Matter of fact, I'll start with them.
Start with the Bucks.
First of all, they're gonna fall off. I think I'm more shocked that they made the playoffs last year than anything. They was just in the NFC South. They weren't good. They weren't a good team last year. I don't think they did anything to get better. Baker Mayfield is still their quarterback, and that's not good. Okay. Now, of course, you know what I mean. You never can overlook like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They played together for years. You like that combination. I get it. Offensive line is actually pretty good, but that defense definitely losing people. Even like looking at somebody like Vita Vea, I think we all look at Vita Vea as like he's inconsistent. He's really good, but like he's inconsistent. If he was consistent, then I would be able to look at him as somebody saying, "Oh yeah, that's somebody you got to deal with all the time." But he's inconsistent. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of consistencies to this team. It doesn't really do it for me. They're in the NFC South. We just kind of got to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'll agree with you on that one. They're not. I think they take a step back this year. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. But Baker Mayfield overachieved last year, played well, got him into the playoffs. It was kind of like one of those years that the quarterback from Seattle had.
Oh, Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yeah, quarterback in a second chance somewhere else, overachieving for a year. He'll drop back down to earth this season, and you know, Bucks
Yeah.
will be the Bucks.
Yeah. So do you think the Bucks can get maybe in third place in the division, or are they just basically?
Yeah, yeah. Bucks and Panthers, I think, are going to be battling for that third spot. And now I'm thinking about it, and after we talked about the Saints, I think Saints got a good chance of battling for the first spot with the Falcons. Yeah,
I got you. All right, cool. We're gonna move on. Let's get back to the AFC West. Let's talk about them Chargers real quick. So
let's
first
talk
of
about
all,
them Chargers.
before you answer it, do you think that they're a team that can make the playoffs this year? Do you think, are you believing the hype? Are you taking the hype, or are you like Hardball needs a year? What do you think about them?
That's a good question because the Chargers are a team that always on paper, you look at them, you got and especially this year, right? You got Harbaugh coming in. So on paper, they're like, oh, this is a playoff team, right? But somehow every single season they seem to find a way to lose close games, you know, just not play up to their ability that they should be playing. So then you got they lost a couple key pieces in the wide receivers. They pick up this McConkey kid. Um, so yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, I think they are a team that could make the playoffs, but I'm not gonna pick them to make the playoffs because I just feel that they're one of those teams that again on paper look like they should be there, but never live up to the hype.
That's valid. Let me tell you, if it's one team that has cost me as much money as the Chargers have in sports betting, every time I believe in them, they cost me every single time.
Mm,
I'm just like, this is ridiculous. So I love the addition of Harbaugh, and I think he will change the culture. I'm one of
agree.
those that feels as though he needs a year because when I look at their defense, just like you said, on paper, listen, they got two pass rushers on paper, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. But like, do they still have it, or are they basically past their prime? And when I talk about Derwin James, like honestly, Derwin James, he's somebody that like he's the last safety that I've really seen like change the outcome of a game. We grew up with Ed Reed and Troy Polamalu, Brian Dawkins, even my boy Bob Sanders. You know what I'm saying? These safeties were changing the game.
True.
It doesn't really happen like that from that position. I have seen that from Derwin James, but like he's also been hurt a lot. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know who
Good take.
he is anymore. So I like the philosophy. Actually, I love the philosophy for Justin Herbert. And I feel as though, to be honest with you, I feel as though I like Justin Herbert, but I don't love Justin Herbert like other people love Justin Herbert. I think he could win a Super Bowl, but I think he's going to win a Super Bowl in the kind of way that like Matthew Stafford wins a Super Bowl.
Mm.
Not in a way that like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes wins, or Joe Montana wins a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? I think it's not as it's because of him. Even though he puts up these numbers, I mean, you can put up as many numbers as you want to. If you're not making the playoffs, it makes them stats, to me, in my opinion, empty. You know?
It's Philip Rivers 2.0, right?
Let me talk about Uncle Phil like that. Okay, I liked Uncle Phil.
That's
Okay.
exactly who Philip Rivers was. Huh? Philip
Yeah,
Rivers
yeah,
2.0.
yeah. But like, kind of, it's just
Yeah.
like, I can't really.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question. You got Joshua Palmer, right? Because fantasy football question here. You got Joshua Palmer. Uh, when he filled in with injured Mike Williams,
Uh-huh.
and Keenan Allen, them guys are always in and out of the lineup.
Mhm.
Joshua Palmer always stepped in and put up some solid numbers, solid receptions on those games. Do you view him as a wide receiver one or this new kid McConkey
On this team or like in general speaking?
on this team moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's unfair. I don't think they have a wide receiver one on this team.
Mm.
But if I was to say, yeah, he's the most seasoned one. He has more rapport with Justin Herbert. I don't see where Ladd McConkey comes in and takes that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why he would be more comfortable with somebody who he's already built rapport with. So no, I definitely feel like he's the number one receiver on this team. But with that said, I don't really think that they have a number one wide receiver on this roster.
Fair, fair.
Now in terms of the playoffs, I think the Chargers, I'm not putting them in the playoffs. I'm keeping them out. But I'm very curious to hear when we get to it what you feel about them being in the playoffs, and I'll explain more about them not being in the playoffs at that point.
Okay.
So
Falcons.
you know what
I'm
time it
excited.
is. You know what
I'm,
time it is.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see this team.
Talk to me. About time, right? Like we ain't been excited about the Falcons and whoo.
Right? Yeah, since the Dirty Bird.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought the same thing. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I mean, you got all this talent the last 2 years. I mean, you're looking at Kyle Pitts. You're like, why isn't this guy getting the ball? And then you get Bijan Robinson last year, and you're like, why isn't this guy getting the ball? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a ton of talent on the offensive side. Drake London, another guy, bad quarterback play they've had the last 2 years. Could be one of the reasons why these guys weren't getting the ball. No reason why Bijan shouldn't have been getting the ball last year unless they were trying to tank for some reason.
Right.
They're going to be a team. They're going to be a team now with Kirk Cousins, who's it's been reported looks healthy, recovering from that Achilles injury. So they're going to be an offense that can put up 30 points a game. Now their defense might be giving up, a good 27 points a game, but it's going to be an exciting offense. And I think they got a chance here to compete for for their division.
Yeah, so like when you talk about Kyle Pitts, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like Kyle Pitts' game. I think he just don't want to deal with the responsibility, of being being a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver. He don't block. So like when people be like, all right, you can play tight end, like you have to block. Like that has to be a part of what you're doing. Like Travis Kelce can block enough. You know what I mean? It's not like he's bad at it. But if you even remember when what was the guy's name?
Jonnu Smith. Is that who you're talking about?
No. I was talking about the guy. He was from the Saints, and then he was Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Remember when Jimmy Graham, when he went over to Seattle, he was a liability. He was like, I can't put him on the field. You know why? Because he's not really a tight end. He's a wide receiver, and he don't want to deal with the coverage schemes of DBs being able to scheme for him. He gets tight ends, and he can take advantage of it.
Yeah, but he was dominant as hell in New Orleans.
Look who his quarterback was.
Okay, so now you got Cousins.
And it's funny that you say that because that's the best, and I think that's why Kirk Cousins is here in Atlanta right now, because that's the best case scenario that you could have. Kirk Cousins figured out what to do with Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's the best case scenario that they could kind of figure out.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I'm underwhelmed with him coming out of college, but I felt like that when he was going to come out of college.
Well, he has a talent. He has the size. Yeah, he's a liability blocking, but if they can get this guy going, especially down the red zone, he's gonna be a problem.
I mean, he's got the talent, but like, is the talent a not quick enough wide receiver, or is the talent a true tight end, and what that means in all its glory?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he can have a decent year, probably the best year since coming in the NFL.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, then we going finish this segment up with the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I wanted to say something to you. Now, flip this game. So I said my take. I had a hot take a couple weeks ago. I said I had a list, and I said who's ascending, and I said, oh, Patrick Mahomes, and it was like that's cheating. That's not fair. And I said, hold on, you got to hear the whole thing. Do you remember that year in Madden where they let Devin Hester get 100 speed and everybody else had 99 speed?
Hell yeah.
So take
Hell
that,
yeah.
right? So take that. And then Teddy Bruschi, do you remember the interview where Teddy Bruschi said Tom Brady, like for like the first 6 years, like they weren't winning because of Tom Brady. They weren't losing because of him either. And that's why they were able to do what they did. But he was not the reason they were winning. And he
Okay.
was, you know what I mean? And in that 6th year, he took just a quantum leap that basically was just like out of this world. And it was just like, oh, now he's the GOAT because he's gonna do that for the next 15 years. Why this is Patrick Mahomes. This is that year for him. He's won Super Bowls. Yes, I understand. He's won we got 3 rings, 2 of which he had a very much inferior roster, and they weren't Super Bowl rosters. I'm not even sure they were playoff rosters without him, but they won the Super Bowl with them. No wide receiver won. And I'm like, well, now that roster is a little bit better now, to be honest with you. Uh would it what if the roster can now make moves and make it easier for him to get better? He would make that leap. Like we could be having a conversation right now. After all that said, the best years of Patrick Mahomes is still in the future. And then what are we talking about now?
Talking about more Super Bowls for Patrick Mahomes.
But I think he's the best. Like I'm not saying he's the greatest. There's a difference between greatest and best. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. He did it for such a long period of time in his greatness. Tom Brady's not better than Patrick Mahomes. If you wanted to go win a game, no matter what was on that roster, and figure it out, I would take Patrick Mahomes over Tom Brady.
At this, yeah. Yeah,
And he's only been in the league for like 5 years, bro. Listen to what you just said. See, you sound crazy like me now. See, you fucked up. You sound crazy like me. It's only been 5 years and you're saying this. See,
yeah,
that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
well, we'll see. We'll see what he does with this roster, right? Because now he's got weapons. He's got Rashee Rice coming in his 2nd year. He's got this kid Xavier Worthy who's supposed to take the top off the defense.
And he
You
got
got
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown, right? Even though he didn't do much last year.
But if he's their
So
third,
yeah,
he's always been like a team's best wide receiver. If he's their third best wide receiver,
yeah, but is he the third best? Who's is Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy that much better than him? And then Travis Kelce's starting to get old. You know, that's Mahomes' safety blanket, kind of like Gronk was for Brady. So yeah, I mean, best years ahead of him for sure for Mahomes.
listen,
But
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give you a hot take. I don't know if that's going to do anything to Patrick Mahomes that Travis Kelce was getting older. I don't know if that's really going to change what he can do.
yeah, you might be right.
Because if you remember Travis Kelce all through the playoffs and at the end of the regular season, he looked old. He looked old. He looked like he wasn't effective. He didn't have numbers. And then in the Super Bowl, boom, or in the AFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, then he did what he did. But like it was about like 4 to 6 weeks where he really wasn't doing anything to help this roster, like you would think.
Yeah. Well, we know the Chiefs are going to win this division, right?
Yeah, that's
As
kind of
long
why I
as
did it in this order.
yeah.
We knew it was leading. See, I
Yeah.
told you it was a movie. It was leading.
Yeah. So I like that hot take though, man. I think I might have to agree with you though on that one.
They're gonna kill you. Yeah, they're gonna call you crazy. They're
You
gonna
know,
throw tomatoes at you. They're
yeah, that's
gonna
fine, man. Because you know what? I battled so many people back in the day with the Peyton Manning Tom Brady debate,
Mhm.
and Tom Brady was by far, yeah. Well, I want to say by far, but he was the better quarterback. He was the one, leading
Well,
his team.
Brady was greater, but once again, I don't think he was better than Peyton Manning.
Oh, he was better. He's better
He's
than Peyton
not better
Manning.
than Peyton Manning,
Yes, he
bro.
is. Yes, he
You
is.
you can use whatever you can.
All around quarterback, he's better than Peyton Manning for sure.
I disagree. See, and then I gotta bring stuff up. See, I didn't want to have to defend my Colts just because you're gonna say, oh, you just like him because he's the Colts and you like the Colts.
No,
No,
I wasn't even gonna say that. I wasn't even gonna say that. I could argue this for plenty of times. I've argued it plenty of times.
Listen, argue it. Listen, we got through this segment faster than I expected, actually. So we can get into it.
All right, let's get into it. What's your
Okay.
defense? All right, go for it.
So I'm gonna give you 2 minutes on this, and then you can have the rest of the time because that'll basically be the end of this segment. Peyton Manning has the statistically, I'm talking about per game averages. I'm not, so when you do something for a longer period of time, you're going to have more of that. So passing yards, yes, he might have more. I'm not sure, but just because of how many more years he did it. But in terms of per game averages, Peyton Manning blows Tom Brady out of the water. When they played each other, the Colts were not saying we got to stop Tom Brady, especially in the first 6 years. But the Patriots were game plan was to keep the ball out of Peyton Manning's hands. So they knew Peyton Manning could beat them. The Colts and everybody else were saying Tom Brady can't really beat us right now. And I know what you're going to say. So it seems like the Patriots beat the Colts a whole lot of times, or Tom Brady beat Peyton Manning a whole bunch of times. But in the playoffs, which I think we agree is more important than the regular season, Peyton Manning beat Tom Brady 3 times, and Tom Brady beat Peyton Manning twice in the playoffs. It seems like it was a lot more, but that's the truth. He only beat him twice in the playoffs. So Peyton Manning has a better playoff record against Tom Brady. His stats per game is better than Tom Brady. And when they played each other, the game plan was more towards keep the ball out of Peyton's hands and not the other way around.
All 3 of those wins were with the Colts.
2 of them was. The other one was with the Broncos.
Broncos. Okay. So really, okay. Yeah. All right. You ready for my defense? Super Bowls.
But there's more to that story than that, though.
There is more to the story, all right? Because Tom Brady led his teams to victory in clutch situations. All right. There's plenty of times Manning had the chance in those games specifically that you're talking about where it wasn't in the dome. We're in the cold. He's throwing interceptions. Losing game for his team. Now, don't get me wrong, Peyton Manning, hell of a quarterback. One of the smartest quarterbacks to ever play the game. Tom Brady, most poised, most accurate, and clutch quarterbacks to ever play the game. That's why he's the GOAT. Championships. I know it takes a team, but whose shoulders does it fall on? It falls on the quarterbacks.
So, okay. So that argument about championships, that argument is not a straight up Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning thing. And I'm going to say this. Are you a person that feels as though Spygate was a thing? Or really, I'm not going to say Deflategate, because Deflategate, they found out against the Colts, and I'm saying that was bullshit. So I'm not using Deflategate, but Spygate. Do you feel as though Spygate was as much of an edge as it comes?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm a type of person where I think if I had the videotape of every signal that you had and what it means for what every wide receiver was supposed to do, and you gave me Tom Brady, I think I can win a couple Super Bowls too. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So you're saying they did that for every single team? I mean, you still got to go out there and play the game, right?
Okay, so they were specifically caught twice in a 4-year span. They were caught. The first time they were caught, I'm saying caught. Now, depending on how, if you say different things, like the Steelers will tell you when like Jerome Bettis and them, they're like, yeah, they cheated, absolutely. But they were caught in the Super Bowl when they beat the Rams, and then they were caught, and it was like, I can't think, it might have been week 7 or 8 in the regular season against the Jets. In between those years, that's when they won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, and things just didn't seem correct. And that is what I'm saying changed a lot of stuff, because in that period, Peyton Manning was probably the one who was affected the most by that because he played them the most. So, yeah, I absolutely think that had something to do with why it seems like Tom Brady was just so much more dominant than Peyton Manning. Absolutely.
I mean, we could also go into the fact that Tom Brady was throwing the ball to Deion Branch, probably the best wide receiver he had besides Gronk.
Well, no, they had system guys. So they weren't great wide receivers, but they fit the system. So like Wes Welker does not fit. Wes Welker don't fit in most other systems like that. Not 100 catches, you know what I mean, a year type guy. No, he doesn't.
Right.
In that system, I think he thrives in that system. Deion Branch thrives in that system. David Givens thrived in that system. So that system, I think, was very wide receiver friendly.
Yeah.
But they were not great. I'm gonna give you that, but they were not great wide receivers.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that
Good
was
argument.
interesting, you know.
I haven't had that argument in a while, but you know, it's hard for me to defend Tom Brady because I can't stand the fucking guy.
And that's the thing. I don't mind Brady. Belichick, I really didn't like. I thought he was overrated. Belichick, I do think was overrated. Brady, I don't mind Tom Brady. He was great. I just don't think he was better than Peyton.
Yeah. I don't
Peyton
know.
or now Patrick Mahomes. I think those two people, we're just saying better, like more talented.
Oh yeah, by far more athletic.
Well, I'm just saying as a
Not so much
I'm saying walk
Mahomes.
into a game like how are we going to win this? It's because you know what I mean. Peyton Manning was the offensive system. Like he literally came to the line and said, "You do this, you do this, you go around there, you come back here, you do that. Y'all block over here, shade it that way." Like I mean, that's how he did things.
Right. So how much is Spygate really helping?
If he knows
If this guy,
all those systems, if he knows what Omaha means and what every wide receiver is going to do, I think that's
yeah,
pretty.
but if you can read the defenses, somebody's gonna get burnt. You know, even if they do know what's coming.
All right, what I'm saying. All right, so like, all right, boom. You calling the play. You a quarterback. You calling the play. You say Omaha. You know this. Oh, your wide receiver is supposed to do a post, right? So they do a cover 3 on that side, and then the wide receiver over here, he's doing a comeback route. So they play cover 2 over here, and then they know that the tight end is supposed to do whatever in route. So they shade the linebackers over here more. You formulate a defense that says, I know where these guys are going to be.
I'll do you one better.
Okay.
Right. In high school, every team we played knew exactly
You mean when
every
we ran the
single
wing
play.
tee? You mean when we ran the wing tee? That high school?
As soon as we lined up on the ball, they knew what play we were fucking running. All right. And we ran 3 routes and we still were able to score fucking touchdowns.
No, we would lose like all right, when we lost. All right, if we're gonna go back to that point, we would lose like 14-12. That's what we would lose, 14-12. Like we would literally lose 17-10. And they'll be like, yo, I can't do nothing. Like this is bullshit.
I guess that is an advantage when the other team knows what you're doing.
Yo, they're not gonna do anything else. Yo, I know it. That's what I'm saying. It's funny because it's like there's nothing. I know this person's running a fly. I know it, and there's not back up a little bit, please.
I guess
The play's over.
If we're talking about Super Bowls, that's a good way to watch that argument.
The play is over.
For sure. I still think in a clutch situation, I'm taking Tom Brady over Peyton Manning.
I can live with that. I can live with that.
Which
all I'm saying is,
makes him, in my eyes, a quarterback.
I'm just saying, I think that, but I just think Peyton was a better quarterback. I think Peyton was better than Joe Montana, but Joe Montana in a clutch situation, I would take Joe Montana too.
I think that makes you a better quarterback.
I can't argue that because you a quarterback. So I'm not even going to dive into that one. Yeah, I know what to argue and what not to argue. I know. You trying to set me a trap on my show. All right, bro. Let me get 5, and then we're gonna come back on. All right.
All right.
5.
All right, we're back.
Of course, we back. We back at it, baby.
Back like
So, first of all, that was a good conversation about Brady and Manning, yo. I ain't even gonna lie to you. That was dope. That's why you here. Okay. Okay. So, yo, let's get into these. We're gonna skip to the next segment. Let's get into these bus candidates. So let me just tell you mine only because people have heard mine already because I've said this topic already. But on notice, I have the Cowboys as one of my bus candidates, and I also have the Baltimore Ravens as one of my bus candidates. And then as a team that I'm calling out, it's about to get ugly in here.
I already know where it's going.
The Miami Dolphins, yo, y'all falling out the playoffs, man.
No, I knew it was
Y'all
uh,
gonna fall out.
no hating. All
I'm
right.
not hating, yo. I'm
No,
not.
I know where it's coming from. It's all good.
Listen. I love you. You know what I'm saying?
All good. It's all
But,
good.
but you know what I mean. Unfortunately, I just don't like the direction of that your team is going in.
Okay.
You can comment on it. You can speak yours. We can have a conversation about anything that I said.
It's fine. It's all recorded, so it's all good. It's all your takes are recorded, so we could always come back to them later in the
You
season.
see, now I can't lie about it. You're gonna say, look, you're gonna say, look right here. You said it right there. I saw it.
All right, so I guess what you picked like 4 bus candidates. I'd like to hear more on your Ravens take, but I
I
did
thought
something
you.
I
I
did
thought you.
something I did something similar. Um I did because I know you wanted to talk about teams that were getting into the playoffs.
Mhm.
So I did teams that were getting into the playoffs in expense of 4 teams that were in the playoffs last year who won't be in the playoffs
Let's
this year. Does that make sense?
that makes a lot of sense. So, are you doing this, and then you're just gonna say your playoff predictions afterwards, or you're just looping them all in together?
Yeah, I mean, however you want to do it, I can give you my 4 busts and then go into it. My 4 busts are the Cowboys,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the Browns, Tampa Bay, and Houston.
You got Houston on your busts?
I do.
Oh, we got to talk about that. You got the
Yeah.
Houston Texans on your bus? Okay, so I will agree. I do think the hype on them is higher than it should be, but oh, just tell me, just start talking, please. Just start talking on that. So Houston Texans, they fallen out the playoffs. Why?
Well, I think so. A couple things need to happen, right?
Okay.
Number one, your boy needs to stay on the field the entire season, or at least the majority of the season.
Yes,
Right. And
absolutely.
Houston's going to be out in the expense of the Colts getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And my reason for this is, for one, Houston was only 1 game better than the Colts last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Colts actually ended up scoring 19 points more points throughout the entire year. And they didn't even have their starting quarterback for the entire year.
We had Gardner Minshew. You're right.
Exactly. So yeah, that I think the Colts get in, and I think it's inexpensive the Houston. So calling them a complete bust might be a little unfair, but yeah, I think they missed the
Okay.
playoffs.
So they missed the
Yeah,
playoffs.
and
Well,
the
that's
way
a bust because
yeah,
people think they're like a dark horse Super Bowl team. So like if they're not even making the playoffs, that's a bust.
and then as much as I don't want to say this because he's on my keeper squad and I backed him all last year, and I CJ Stroud, I think he's a great quarterback. Um, you know, history tells us there's a sophomore slump. So I think that's a possibility. And then you have Stephon Diggs coming into play, who's going to command the ball, could throw the offense off a little bit
Yes,
if he
yes, I agree with that. That I agree with.
right. So he's going to command the ball. And Nico Collins is a great wide receiver, but it could cause some problems in the locker room.
I
And
agree
then
with
my last one, I missed this one, but was the Steelers. The Steelers are out.
that. Okay. So when I did my bus candidates, I didn't pick teams that were like just barely made the playoffs and it was like they're probably going to slide out. I picked teams that I was like, oh, I expected, like people hear this name and they expect something from them. Like, you know what I mean, potentially deep into the
Like
play.
the Ravens.
Like
Yeah,
the Ravens, which I'm about to explain to you, by the way.
please.
So the Ravens is this. So Lamar Jackson, phenomenal. You know what I mean? 2-time MVP. I can't say nothing bad about him. Everything else I'm about to say is kind of has to all be perfect for me. So Derrick Henry, this is his 10th year. I mean, at some point, I mean, he's going to, slow down a little bit. I think at this age, being in his 30s, 10 years, all the physical hits and stuff, I don't think he's that guy that still gets you like 1,100 yards. You know what I mean, in the season. I just don't.
Right.
But I think he would have to get them 1,100 yards for, in my head, for what they would have to do to compete. And then you got to have Mark Andrews. I think he's got to be 1,000-yard receiver. I think Isaiah Likely has to probably have around like 700 yards. And then Zay Flowers would have to have like 1,100 yards. So Zay Flowers last year had about like 800, but he's got to have about like 1,100 now. Now, if all that happens, yes, I can see them being in the playoffs and stuff like that. I just look at where Derrick Henry is, where Mark Andrews is. The ceiling is just so low. Like anything that falls off, I'm like, there's not enough offense to do that. Added to, like, they lost some pieces on their defense. So like last year, they led the league in sacks, and then they lost two people off of that offense, off of that defensive line. I'm not saying that they're like they were great players. I'm just saying they're not going to lead the league in sacks again. And then they lost Patrick Queen to the Steelers. So I think that defense is not like a huge monumental step back, but it's not going to be as good as like leading the league in sacks, top 2 defense like it was last year. And that offense, everything kind of got to go right, because I don't see the weapons around it going. There's no other back to help. You know what I mean? With Derrick Henry. It's Derrick Henry or bust. There's no wide receiver 2. You know what I mean? Which is damn sure not a wide receiver 3. So I just think the Ravens, the ceiling's very low for it to go their way.
All great takes there. I like, those are great takes. But my question to you is, it seems like your take has a lot to do with the Lamar Jackson we seen last year, right? Staying in the pocket, throwing the ball.
Well, he was an MVP, and he's probably not going to be an MVP again. You know what I mean?
Right, but you know, Derrick Henry being the only running back, but there's Lamar Jackson, right, who can run the ball. Then you're saying all these guys got to get like 1,000 yards. Mark Andrews has to stay healthy. I don't think you said that, but that's something he has to do.
I said he was older. I just said he was
older. Right, exactly. So, but then again, you got Lamar Jackson, right? So, if he plays the way he played last year by staying in the pocket the majority of the time, yeah, but if he continues to use them legs, I don't know, man. But then the defense comes into play. I think it's a great take. I'm trying to steel man your argument a little bit here because it's Lamar Jackson, right?
Listen, he's got 2 MVPs. I think he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's probably not going to get 3 MVPs back to back to back. I mean, not back to back MVPs like that. It's probably not what's going to happen. So you should expect a little bit of a worse season from him. And I just looking at every other weapon, and I'm like, it's got to go right. And I got a lot of questions about the age, health, and talent of combination of the rest of that offense.
So Bengals win the division.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I have the Bengals in.
Okay, so hold on. So we jump into the.
I'm jumping now.
Okay, so now we're talking about this. These are your, hold on. Let me introduce it, because this is the segment right here. This is it. This is it. This is the way too early playoff predictions right here. This is where you show. This is where you show what you know. Do you see? I just dropped you a bar right there. You see, I can't just let you start. I gotta give you bars if I'm gonna let you go. You see what I'm saying? So we're gonna tell everybody in August what's gonna happen. Okay. Now, I will tell you, even what you're going to tell me right now, I will give you the opportunity, because you're going to be back here during the season. I'll give you the opportunity one time in the season to change those predictions.
Cool.
Tell me, the Bengals are going to win the North. Go ahead.
Won't have to, but it's all right.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Bengals in the expense of the Browns being out, right? Mainly, I think Bengals bounce back with Joe Burrow. The guy's a top tier quarterback, right? But the Browns, I think, are dependent on a lot. You know, we still don't know what Deshaun Jackson is. You got Nick Chubb bouncing back from an injury. Jerry Jeudy, does he figure it out in Cleveland? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. And then it's possibly the toughest division in football, right? You
It's
got
one of the
right, right, exactly. So Browns are out,
okay.
Bengals
So
are
all right,
in.
so just tell me the division winner. So in the North, you got the Bengals. Who you got?
Okay.
Who you got in the AFC West?
I
Who?
didn't I didn't I didn't go I didn't go into like division winners. I haven't looked into that.
Okay, well, just tell me who you got in.
Okay. I got Falcons in the expense of the Tampa Bay being out.
Can you at least break it up into AFC and NFC?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure. Yeah. All right. We'll stay in the what are we in the AFC?
AFC. Yeah, you said Bengals.
All right. AFC. Steelers out,
Okay.
Chargers in. No, that's NFC,
No, Chargers.
right?
It's the AFC.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Chargers in, Steelers out. Um Mainly here, chart Steelers got to figure out that quarterback situation, right? Do they start Justin Fields or is it easier to um bring him in after who's
Right.
the other quarterback there?
Russell Wilson.
Russell, thank you. Yeah, or is it easier to start Russell Wilson and then pull him? Because if Justin Fields comes in, does a terrible job, then what? You bring in Russell Wilson, then you're
Right,
so
right,
I
right,
I
right, right,
think
right.
yeah, so
I got
gotta
questions.
get
You
that
got two
figured.
quarterbacks. You got none.
Right. And I like Justin Fields, man. I think he has potential there to do good some good things. But the Chargers are in. Yeah. Wait, didn't I say earlier I thought they were out? I couldn't take on the be in.
You were thinking about it. You were on the cliff about it. So
Okay.
if you think that
Yeah,
they
so
in, that's fine.
yeah, so this might be one I'll have to change, but yeah, I think
Nah, you said you ain't got to change nothing. I heard what you said. Okay. All right. So you got the
I,
Bengals in, you got the
I'll stay
Chargers
quiet
in.
then. All right. And here's the main reason why for the Chargers is they got an easy schedule, right?
Okay.
Their first three games are against the Raiders, the Panthers, and Steelers, all winnable games. And then they end with Tampa Bay, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Pats. So potentially there, that's 7 wins.
And then figure out the rest. I got you. I got you.
So I think they have a path. They certainly have a path of getting.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
So you got the Chiefs in?
of course, I got the Chiefs in. Yeah.
All right. So you got the Bengals, the Chiefs, and then you got the Chargers in. Keep going.
Right. And then how many more do I need over there? I would need
You got four more.
4 more. I don't know. I don't have it all in front of me, but I got my Dolphins in.
Okay.
I got the Bills in. Um, who,
You didn't say anything about the AFC South. So you said that you got the Colts in. That's what you said, right?
okay. So yeah, who's in the AFC South? Um,
Colts, the Texans, the
okay,
Jaguars.
Colts are in. Colts are in, and Jaguars are in.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay, cool. So out of the North, you got the Bengals. Out of the West, you got the Chiefs. Out of the East, you got the Dolphins. Out of the South, you got the Colts. And then your playoff team, and then your wild card teams, you got the Chargers, the Jaguars, and Buffalo.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Tell me about the
I might have to look that over and get back to you on some of them because I didn't do it.
I don't hate the list. I don't hate it. I thought I would
Okay.
hate it more, to be honest with you. I thought I'm gonna hate it.
A couple were off the top there, but yeah.
All right, cool. All right, give me the NFC.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Falcons. You said Falcons.
here's a little bit of a hot take, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not thrilled about this one, but I think the Cowboys are out in expense of the Bears.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the Bears just yet, but um, this is why the Cowboys are out, right? They got a tough schedule coming into this year. I think they play like the Niners, Lions, Ravens, Bengals, Falcons, all
Right,
teams
right.
that are tough. You got that McCarthy, right? McCarthy's the head coach. He's a lame duck. He's and then you got a decaying foundation between your QB, your wide receiver, and your pass rush. You can't get that all together, and all the madness and media and contract shit. It's already a distraction. And so, I just think, Cowboys are out in that situation.
Uh-huh.
And Bears, I think if they want to improve this season, it's just gonna be, at least on paper, it's gonna come down to how quarterback play is.
I agree. Okay, cool. So you got the Bears in. You have you said the Falcons in. Okay, keep going. Falcons and Bears are in.
Bengals are in.
No,
Well, no,
that's
no, no.
AFC,
Wrong.
NFC.
Eagles are in, right?
Eagles are in.
Eagles in. Um, who who else did I got? I got Eagles.
You didn't say anything about the NFC North, which is
Bears.
the Lions, Packers.
Lions are in.
Lions are in.
Packers are in. Um, yeah. I, I
Um,
I need to pull up at least the list in front of me to look at the teams, but
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Why don't you tell
Uh,
me who you got in, and then
okay. So in the AFC, I got the Bengals. Um, out of the North, I have the Chiefs in the West. I have Buffalo winning the AFC East. And I'm actually predicting this is an actual prediction. I'm saying Josh Allen's going to win the MVP this year. That's who I think is going to win the MVP.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Buffalo winning the East, and I have Houston winning the South.
Okay.
Um, then um I have actually that AFC South I think is actually going to be tough this year. So I have the Colts and the Jaguars still making the playoffs. So I have three teams out of the AFC South.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then lastly, I have the Jets. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the Jets, everything I'm hearing coming out of there, I'm starting to get a little But
Yeah.
but like honestly, on paper, like I'm looking at them and I'm like, if they can get out of their own way,
That's it. That's it. That's why I
they're
can't.
going to be a team that's going to be a hard out for everybody, including the Chiefs. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that's who it is. So I got the Bengals, I got the Texans, I got the Chiefs, and I got Buffalo, and then I have the Jets, and then I have the Colts and the Jaguars.
Okay.
Um, but like I said, I put the Bengals, I put the Ravens on notice. I'm not because I'm even that Jaguars one is a little bit. It's just what I think
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence's career is, and I think his career actually is going to be pretty good. But if they lose again, they're gonna be doing a whole new regime, and his career has kind of been like underwhelming. You know what I mean? Then I think he might be looked at as a little bit more of a bust. You know what I mean? Because who they gonna get? You know what I mean? Who's left? Who's come? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm leaving out hope that just in my head that Trevor Lawrence his career is still gonna be pretty good. In the NFC, I have the Falcons in the North. I got the Eagles in the East. Um, I got I'm sorry, the Falcons in the South. The Falcons in the South, Eagles in the East, the Lions in the North, and I have the 49ers in the West.
Right.
Um, and then I have I got the Packers and Bears making the playoffs.
Okay.
The Packers and Bears, and then I have the Rams making the playoffs too.
Rams. Yeah, I like the Rams too.
But like I said, but that's even interesting because I mean Dallas might pull it together, but I don't like. It's funny because anytime the Cowboys have been Dak centric, no matter how talented the roster is, they've been underwhelming. And every time they basically said, "All right, we're gonna make sure you hand the ball off, and we're gonna give you easier things." And it's not so much everything he has to do; they've overachieved, even if they had a trash defense.
That's true.
You know what I
That's a good
mean?
point. Yeah.
So I don't like that. Even though they have a talented roster, that I know that they're looking at this and saying Dak gotta carry us to something. You know what I mean? I really don't like that. So yeah, so that's who I got.
Okay. I like that Rams pick. What do you think about Cooper Cup this year? You think he bounces back now? Second year off of injury. He's 31 years old, but you think he gets back to anything that he used to be?
Honestly, I would say no. So Cooper Cup really only had two real seasons of 1,000 yards. All the rest of his seasons, so he had the one year that he had like 1,900 yards, or was it 19 or 1,700 yards, so something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one year. Then he had one year before that. That was like a year or two before that he had like 1,100 yards. All the rest of them, if you take those 2 years out, his highs are like 800 yards.
Hmm.
They're going back to like 2017. So I think he's the number 2 wide receiver in there. I think he could be a good. I think he fits on a roster. You know what I mean? On a fantasy roster, but I wouldn't look at him as like 1,000 yard. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
8 touchdown guy. I wouldn't look at him like that. No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I was interested in your take on that. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I had to look that up because I was like, was Cooper Cup really that good? Like that good? And it seemed like it was like forever, but like nah, it was really only like for like 2 years.
Yeah, well, he has that 1 year too. He's got Matthew Stafford and Matthew Stafford, when he targets somebody, he targets somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
look
yeah,
what
yeah.
he did for Puka Nacua in the first 4 games last year.
You see what
Guy's
I'm
getting like
saying?
15. Yeah, he's getting like 15
There's no way to
targets.
predict that. And it's funny because you had to take about McConkley earlier and with the Chargers and Palmer. That would I don't know how to not get caught off guard by a rookie coming in and being like a bigger deal than the person that's established already. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have to get caught off guard like that,
Right.
if
That's
that's
a good
gonna
point.
happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were caught off guard last year with Puka Nacua, right?
No one saw that coming.
Oh,
No one predicted that.
shit.
Okay, I see what you got going on here. I just want you to know the reel that has to do with one of the reels. I guarantee is going to be about that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady debate. That was good. That was good.
Can't believe he took the Jets, man. Woo!
Listen, I think all right. So
I
it
may as well put my team out.
well, all right. So if I take those 2 rosters, right? Let's just take Dolphins and Jets.
All right, go for it.
Which quarterback is the better quarterback?
Tua.
Tua is not better than Tom Brady. I mean, he's not better than Aaron Rodgers.
At this point in Aaron Rodgers' career,
I mean, he played 4 games. He played. He played 4 plays. Like you know what I mean. He had a whole
Let's
year
slow
off.
down. Let's slow down just a second. All right. For the system, right? System quarterback, Tua in the system that he's currently in, or Aaron Rodgers at his age right now, coming off an Achilles injury.
So you're looking at that. So can I add something to it? Can I add something to it?
The better quarterback this year.
Can I add something to it?
Say what?
Can I add something to it?
Sure.
For how much Tua is getting paid?
That has nothing to do with it.
It does because I can prove it, and it has to do with exactly why I took y'all out. Y'all lost pieces off of your roster from last year.
Okay.
So you lost. So because he got paid all that money, Christian Wilkinson is gone. Because
right. But that's to the whole argument.
What was his name? Your corner.
I know. But that's to the whole argument. Right now, the argument is who's the better quarterback.
Well, it was leading to something, but I would okay until I'm proven until he's proven to be a bad quarterback or even just an average quarterback, I'm still rolling with Aaron Rodgers because he traditionally put balls in pockets and windows that was this big all the time, and I'm not saying he's the greatest because there's like when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, the Packers were supposed to beat them that
year.
Yeah, and it was Aaron Rodgers' fault and decision why they did not. Okay, so I'm not saying he's like the greatest, but if I was to choose, until I see Aaron Rodgers be an average quarterback, I'm assuming that he's going to be great.
All right, moving on. All right, the quarterback.
Okay, so offensive line.
Miami.
No, it's not even close, bro. It's not Miami. Your offensive line is like average at best. and it scares me for Tua because he's about one good hit away from being done playing football, period. So, and it scares me that they didn't say, yo, we need the best offensive line in football. It scares me. Okay.
All right, moving on.
Okay. Wide receivers, the Dolphins have better wide receivers. Okay.
Yep.
See how quickly I did that? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Defense.
Jets.
Okay. So out of everything that I named in my head, the only thing that y'all are better at the Jets with is wide receivers. And I think the defensive line for the Jets exploits a weakness in your offense in that y'all want to go down the field. Y'all want big plays, splash plays. You need time in the pocket for it to develop. And I don't like that y'all didn't invest into that offensive line too much. You
All
know,
right. All right. I'm gonna keep going though. Better head coach.
Dolphins, not close.
Better organization.
I mean Dolphins, but I wouldn't really like y'all are like if we're drawing the line, y'all still like here. But
Yeah,
here,
yeah, you're
but
very
yes,
close.
yes, you're right about that. I give you that. Go
They're
ahead.
very close when it comes to that. But yeah, better coach. There it is, man. And Aaron Rodgers already button heads with the head coach of the Jets. The Jets always a dumpster fire, but we'll see. I guess we'll see.
I mean, yeah, we'll definitely see. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but I will tell you, if I'm going to remove the Jets for somebody, it would probably be Baltimore before the Dolphins.
Oh, okay. And that
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
Brees Hall is a monster too, man.
yeah, Brees Hall is a monster. You absolutely.
Rodgers really has to do all that much.
Brees Hall is a monster, and I really do think Mike Williams, if he don't get hurt, Mike Williams fills a bigger void for the Jets. I think that's a huge pickup. Like that, like if Mike Williams ain't injured for like 8 games this year, he gonna make a big difference in terms of how they can distribute the ball, and they gonna
That's Mike.
ball.
That's Mike Williams every year, though, right? And every year he's out for 8 games.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
We'll see. But I like Mike Williams though. I like Mike Williams. He's fucking hurt.
He's always fucking hurt.
Okay, well, it looks like we got a little bit of time left, so let's see if I got a question for you. See, we zoomed right through this. You see what I'm saying?
We did.
I ain't letting you go. Let's see if we got another question. Who can we say? All right, so tell me, what do you think about Anthony Richardson? What do you think?
Anthony Richardson. I think he's shit, man. I think Anthony Richardson is gonna be the number if he stays healthy, he's gonna be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football this year. Let's just start there, right? Because for one, he's got an arm and he can run. So if he can, take a page out of Lamar Jackson's book and learn how to use his legs when he has to and make plays with his arm, I think he can take that team to the playoffs. I think he's going to. Yeah. I think he is the key to the Colts' success.
I 150% agree with exactly what you said. I just have my questions about him as a passer, and I'll say it like this. I'm gonna be honest with you. The one thing that I don't care about in terms of quarterbacks, I don't care if my quarterback has a 40-inch vertical. I really don't care. I don't give a shit about that.
Right.
It helps nothing. It has never helped the quarterback do anything.
No.
So I just feel as though coming out of college, his attributes were more about what is being talked about than his quarterback play. And I think and Lamar Jackson showed it to you last year, you alluded to it a bunch of times. Eventually, as a quarterback, you're going to have to sit in that pocket and you're going to have to beat somebody from the pocket. I don't know. I don't have the answer to can he do that yet. If he can, and how everybody else speaks about him, yes, we're scary. The Colts are scary.
Yeah.
But if he can't, or if he does it inconsistently, and I don't know, and I really don't know because he only played 4 games,
right?
Then it could be a long season,
Yeah, I mean, but look how they didn't do so bad last season, right? They didn't do so bad last season without him. So
no, so I expect this to be so, but that would basically put us back at like 9-8.
Yeah.
So we're talking about start at 9-8. How many more games does he help us win?
Let me backtrack. I'm sorry to switch the subject on you real quick, but I was thinking about this. Did the Jets did they invest in that offensive line this offseason?
They got Tyron Smith, and then they drafted a guard too. But yes.
Okay. All right. I was just curious.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, though. That's a good question. That's a great question.
Oh, you picked them over the Dolphins offense line, so
I did.
I was wondering if they gotten better or something.
And I scared and you know what? I'm actually gonna look it up because PFF, because you know PFF really is the only thing that does like offensive line rankings. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Well,
this
that
came out in February. I mean, not February. Excuse me, in July. So they
okay.
ranked the offensive lines, and they have the Dolphins at 18.
Where they have the Jets.
Eight.
Well,
No, I'm sorry, five. Five.
5? Damn.
Five.
That's a huge improvement from last year, huh?
Yeah. Morgan Moses is who it is that they got. So Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and then they got Elijah Vera Tucker. Yeah, the line's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Jets they could be really fucking good this year.
If they get out of their own fucking way. If
Right.
they get out of their own fucking way.
They really could.
All
Who's their
right,
backup?
cool.
Who's their backup quarterback?
For the
I'm just
Colts?
yeah.
It's Joe Flacco.
Not for the Colts. For the Jets?
No, for the Colts, it's Joe Flacco. That's what I thought you were asking.
Oh, shit. Joe Flacco. That's rough.
He's the
How about
backup.
for the Jets?
Joe Flacco was good for the Browns last year.
Joe Flacco.
Aaron Rodgers' backup quarterback is Tyrod Taylor.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's better than Zach Wilson, right?
Absolutely. A lot, pretty much everything's better than Zach Wilson. So I will say this though about the Steelers. If the Steelers, it's funny because I'm not the biggest wide receiver guy. But if the Steelers end up getting Ayuk, if they end up getting Ayuk, I think that could change a lot in terms of how I see the Steelers and everything. Because that defense is good and that offensive line is good. They just have George Pickens, who is good but inconsistent and
Yeah,
really nothing else. But if
right.
they happen to get Ayuk, that might change some. That might sway a lot for me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But they don't have him yet, so we can't put him in this episode. That's why I always make sure we get one time where we can go back and say, hey, you know what?
What do you think about the
It's fucked
Seahawks?
up.
Seahawks might be one of those teams that are sneaky. Yeah,
They could be sneaky, but I don't know. So I just look at them. I look at them as a team that doesn't really have like a culture. Their culture is like up in the air. Like, are they going to be running the ball a lot, or are they going to be because they got 3 wide receivers now? Are you trusting Geno Smith to carry you? What's that pass rush look like? I know they have Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon he's great.
yeah.
But as a corner, you know what I mean? But like I have a lot of questions about their pass rush. I have a lot of questions about the culture of what their philosophy is going to be on offense. And I don't like questions and saying that's what I feel.
Right. Good point. Yeah, I mean they got the running game, right? They got 2 solid backs.
If they do it, if
If they
they run the ball.
do it. Right. But they also got 3 solid wide receivers, right? Um Yeah, I don't know much about their defense just yet, but I don't know. I think they could be a sneaky team if they put it
Could
all
be a
together.
sneaky team.
Yeah.
They could win about like 7 games, and I'm not sure which one it is. I'm kind of teetering between that.
I don't see a path though for 3 teams getting in the playoffs. What did you say? The Texans, Colts,
Jags
and who?
and Jaguars.
And Jags. Yeah.
Well, when I look at you could start with rosters, but then I mean you could start with who everybody has to play, but then you could also look at rosters. I have less questions about for Jacksonville, if Trevor Lawrence is playing 80% of what people think he can be, I
Right.
have less questions about what that offense can do than I do Baltimore.
Okay.
And if Anthony Richardson plays 80% of what people think he could play, I have less questions about that offense and defense. I mean, and these are teams with defense like the Jaguars pass rush is legit. You know what I mean? They got 2 pass rushes.
Yeah, they do.
That's not you can't underestimate that. Their
Right.
defense is actually good. So if Trevor Lawrence is 80% of what we think he is, then I think they're gonna be in there. I have less questions about them. Same answer I have for the Colts. And even if those questions are murky, I still have more questions about Baltimore's offense. I still have more questions about the Steelers' offense. I still have more questions. I definitely have questions about the Dolphins' offensive line and defense. And defense.
And defense, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I have less questions about these teams. That's why I'm saying that's where I see the path. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of teams that match up well against a highly talented, very fast offense that needs time to get down the field and not a good offensive line. There's teams that match up well against that. And you know what I mean? That's why I see that happening.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. We probably gonna wrap this up here. Nick, you can't stay away this long, bro. We need you here. Listen, you one of the fan favorites. They be like, listen, all the time. They say, "Where's Nick? Where's Nick?" I'm like, "Get on out of here, yo. Mind your business. He'll be back." Okay, so we need you to come back through. So first of all, let's just wrap this up. First of all, you can catch our reels, or no, you can catch our videos on Spotify and YouTube. You can catch our reel game, which is going crazy. I don't know if I'm keeping up with the reels, but we've been hitting like 30,000 views and up, like pretty consistently. You're gonna see these numbers. Nice. You can see them on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We all over the place. Nick, yo, you bring so much knowledge, man, to this platform. That's why it pains me to say, cuz you don't know football. I appreciate you. I see you. This is the new house, right? In the new house, right?
I'm in the basement right now. I still got some shit I gotta get done, but yeah, in the new house.
I'm proud of you, bro.
Thanks, my man. Thanks.
See, look what behavioral studies will get you.
Hey, happy birthday, brother. Happy birthday, my man.
Always a pleasure to have you. Please don't stay away too long, bro. We love having you on the show, and we need to have you back ASAP.
Thanks, my man. Happy birthday. Make sure you get some road game for them gray hairs.
You see him in there? Did you see him? Yeah. You see him creeping in there?
Salt and pepper, but it's all good, brother.
So you wasn't gonna let it slide. All right, brother.
Brother. Love you, man.
Family. Love you, man.
Love you too.